There are moments in televised talent shows when something unexpected cuts through the noise of production, expectation, and competition, creating a pause that feels almost collective. Lucy Thomas became one of those rare moments in 2018 when she appeared as a 13-year-old contestant on The Voice Kids UK. Before she even sang, she looked like any other shy teenager stepping onto a brightly lit stage, carrying nerves that seemed almost visible in her posture. But the moment she began singing Moon River, something shifted in the atmosphere of the studio. The song, already known for its nostalgic and cinematic softness, was transformed by her voice into something even more intimate and emotionally weighted. What made the performance remarkable was not volume or technical display, but restraint. Lucy sang with a clarity and purity that felt unusually mature for her age, as though she understood the emotional history embedded in the lyrics. Within seconds, two coaches turned their chairs, visibly surprised by the depth of sound coming from someone so young. The audience reaction followed quickly, building into a standing ovation that felt less like applause and more like disbelief being released. Online clips of the performance spread rapidly, with viewers describing it as unexpectedly moving, even haunting. In that brief moment, Lucy Thomas became a national talking point, a young voice that seemed to interrupt the usual rhythm of televised entertainment and replace it with something quieter, more reflective, and far more enduring than anyone anticipated. The audition that changed everything. The audition stage of The Voice Kids UK is designed to filter talent through pressure, but Lucy Thomas's performance seemed to reverse that intention entirely. Instead of being overwhelmed by the environment, she appeared to absorb it and transform it into focus. Singing Moon River required emotional subtlety rather than theatrical power, and she delivered it with a control that surprised even seasoned viewers of the show. The coaches who turned their chairs reacted not just to technical ability but to tone quality that felt unusually refined for her age, almost classical in its consistency. Behind the scenes, her personality contrasted with the scale of the moment unfolding around her. She was reportedly reserved, polite, and attentive during rehearsals, taking feedback seriously and applying it without hesitation. Her decision to join Danny Jones reflected a preference for guidance that emphasized emotional authenticity rather than performance spectacle. As she moved through the early stages of the competition, she demonstrated versatility, adapting to different genres without losing her distinctive vocal identity. Even when performing more energetic songs in group rounds, she maintained a sense of emotional grounding that set her apart from other contestants. While the show continued its usual cycle of eliminations and dramatic moments, Lucy's presence felt steady, almost introspective. For viewers, her audition was not just an introduction but a defining moment that shaped expectations around her future, even before she had fully begun her journey. Life after the spotlight. When the show ended for Lucy Thomas, the transition away from televised competition marked the beginning of a very different kind of experience. Returning to Wigan, she was no longer just a student, but someone whose face and voice had been seen by millions. This sudden shift created an unusual imbalance between public recognition and private life. While many people saw her as a rising star, she was still navigating school, friendships, and the ordinary structure of adolescence. The attention brought admiration, but also expectations that were difficult to process at such a young age. Social media amplified this effect significantly. Messages from strangers around the world poured in, praising her voice and predicting a major career. At the same time, comparisons and expectations began to form, creating pressure that she had never previously experienced. Her family played a stabilizing role, especially her mother, who helped manage external attention and limited exposure to overwhelming media demands. Despite this support, Lucy gradually stepped back from frequent public appearances. She declined many invitations, choosing instead to focus on vocal training and personal development. Pressure of early fame. Early recognition can feel like acceleration without preparation, and Lucy Thomas experienced that shift rapidly after her television debut. The world had seen her at her most emotionally powerful moment, and that single performance became the standard against which everything else was measured. For a teenager still developing both personally and vocally, this created an unusual psychological burden. Every new recording, appearance, or social media post risked being compared to a moment that was already idealized in the public imagination. The expectation of consistency became particularly challenging. Audiences often forget that young singers are still evolving, both technically and emotionally. In Lucy's case, people expected not only continued excellence but continuous growth in a very specific direction, one defined by her early performance style. This led to a tension between artistic exploration and public expectation. Even casual online posts became subjects of interpretation, with some praising her humility while others questioned her reduced visibility. Her own reflections during this period suggested a growing awareness of this imbalance. She acknowledged the difficulty of being seen as, quote, perfect while still learning. That pressure created moments of hesitation about sharing new work publicly. It also contributed to her decision to step back from constant visibility. Rather than chasing momentum, she chose to slow down, focusing on vocal technique and emotional grounding. This phase was not a retreat from music, but a response to the intensity that early recognition can generate in young artists who are still forming their identity. Choosing silence and rebuilding, the decision to step away from constant public exposure did not mean stepping away from music itself. Instead, Lucy Thomas entered a quieter phase of rebuilding, one centered on practice, reflection, and gradual development. Without the pressure of weekly performances or televised judgment, she had the space to explore her voice in a more controlled and personal environment. This allowed her to focus on technique, breath control, and emotional interpretation without the immediate feedback loop of public reaction. Her home environment became an important part of this process. Family support provided stability, while informal singing sessions with her sister helped maintain a sense of normality. These moments were not performances, but shared experiences that reconnected music with comfort rather than expectation. During this time, she also began writing privately, using journaling as a way to express thoughts that were not meant for audiences. These writings reflected themes of uncertainty, identity, and resilience. What emerged from this period was a clearer understanding of her artistic direction. Instead of trying to replicate the impact of her initial television appearance, she began focusing on authenticity and long-term sustainability. Silence, in this context, was not absence but construction. It allowed her to rebuild confidence without external pressure, shaping a foundation that would support her future work more sustainably than immediate visibility ever could. Return through recording career. Lucy Thomas's return to public music did not come through spectacle but through structured recording projects. Working with an independent label allowed her to maintain creative control while gradually reintroducing her voice to audiences. Her early albums focused on reinterpretations of well-known songs, giving her the opportunity to explore emotional nuance rather than vocal competition. This approach suited her style, which emphasized clarity, sincerity, and controlled expression over theatrical intensity. Her debut recordings were received with quiet appreciation rather than mass commercial hype. Listeners noted the consistency of tone and emotional restraint in her performances. Instead of attempting to reinvent herself, she refined what already made her distinctive. This approach helped her transition from television contestant to recording artist without abrupt reinvention. The studio environment also served as an educational space. She learned how arrangements are built, how microphones capture subtle vocal differences, and how production choices shape emotional impact. This technical understanding strengthened her artistic independence. Rather than relying solely on natural talent, she began developing a more complete understanding of music creation. Growth as an artist during pandemic. The global disruption caused by the pandemic created unexpected conditions for Lucy Thomas's artistic development. With traditional studio access limited, much of her work shifted into home-based recording environments. While this might have been challenging for many artists, it allowed her a level of focus and isolation that aligned with her preference for controlled, reflective creative spaces. During this period, she experimented more deeply with interpretation rather than performance. Songs she recorded were often reimagined in stripped-down formats, emphasizing emotional clarity over production complexity. One of her most widely recognized interpretations from this time gained significant online attention, demonstrating how digital platforms had become a primary channel for her audience engagement. However, this period also introduced new challenges. Extended recording sessions and repeated vocal takes contributed to strain, revealing the physical limits of sustained self-directed perfectionism. Her commitment to achieving precise emotional delivery sometimes led to overworking her voice, a lesson that became important for her long-term sustainability. Transformation and global recognition. As Lucy Thomas progressed through successive projects, her artistic identity became more defined and mature. Later albums reflected a deeper emotional range, moving from interpretive singing toward more personal expression. This evolution was accompanied by increasing global recognition, particularly through digital platforms where her performances reached international audiences far beyond the UK. Her collaborations, including duets with her sister, added another dimension to her work. These performances highlighted not only vocal compatibility but emotional connection, which resonated strongly with listeners. The natural harmony between their voices became a defining feature of her online presence, expanding her audience across multiple countries and languages. Despite growing visibility, she maintained a relatively private personal life. Unlike many artists who adapt to fame through public personas, she continued to prioritize controlled exposure and selective engagement. This approach created a distinctive balance: global reach without constant media saturation. Beyond music, stage, and advocacy, as her career matured, Lucy Thomas expanded beyond recording into live performance and theatrical work. Appearing in stage productions required a different set of skills, including sustained vocal performance under live conditions and integration with theatrical storytelling. This transition marked an important step in her development as a performer, allowing her to engage with audiences in real time rather than through recorded media alone. These experiences also challenged her in new ways. Live performance introduced pressure that differed from television or studio environments, requiring immediate emotional and technical control. Despite this, she adapted steadily, gaining confidence through repetition and experience. Alongside performance work, she became associated with advocacy efforts related to young people and mental well-being. Drawing from her own experiences of early attention and pressure, she participated in initiatives focused on resilience and emotional support. Her involvement was not framed as celebrity endorsement but as personal contribution based on lived experience. This phase of her career demonstrated a broader understanding of influence. Music became not only an artistic output but also a medium for connection and support. Her work began to reflect a dual purpose: artistic expression and emotional outreach. This combination strengthened her identity as an artist who values impact as much as visibility. Conclusion: the meaning of A Quiet Rise. Lucy Thomas's journey challenges common assumptions about fame, success, and artistic growth. Her path did not follow a conventional trajectory of rapid commercialization or constant public exposure. Instead, it moved through phases of visibility, withdrawal, development, and gradual return. What appears externally as silence was, in reality, a structured process of learning and preservation. Her early moment on television introduced her to the world, but it did not define the entirety of her career. Instead, it became a starting point that required careful navigation. By choosing to step back at key moments, she protected both her voice and her sense of identity, allowing her development to unfold at a sustainable pace. In an industry often driven by immediate visibility, her approach represents a different model of artistic growth. It emphasizes longevity over intensity, depth over repetition, and authenticity over constant exposure. Her story suggests that stepping away from attention is not necessarily retreat, but sometimes a necessary condition for building something more stable. Ultimately, her journey reflects a quieter form of success, one that is not measured solely by fame or public recognition, but by continuity, emotional honesty, and the ability to remain connected to one's original purpose.